The ocean roared below, its waves clawing at the cliffs, but it was her laugh, sharp, unmistakable, that sliced through the salty air and stopped my heart. I stood frozen on the resort's balcony, my fingers gripping the railing until my knuckles blanched. There, by the infinity pool, was Elise, her auburn hair catching the Caribbean sun like a flare. She leaned into a man, her hand grazing his arm, her smile too intimate for a stranger. My stomach churned as I recognized him. Daniel, my oldest friend, the man whose wife was currently napping in our suite upstairs. The resort, a sprawling oasis of palm trees and turquoise waters, had seemed like paradise when Rachel, Daniel's wife, and I arrived yesterday. We'd planned this trip for months, a rare escape from our chaotic lives, a chance to reconnect as friends. But now watching Elise, my Elise, giggle with Daniel, her fingers twirling a strand of hair, I felt the ground beneath me dissolve. How could she be here? How could he? I forced myself to breathe, the air thick with hibiscus and betrayal. My mind scrambled for explanations. Maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe Daniel was here on business, and Elise, what? Just happened to book the same resort? My heart scoffed at the lie. I'd seen that look in her eyes before. 3 years ago, when she'd whispered she loved me in a dimly lit cafe, her hand warm in mine. Now, that same softness was aimed at him. I retreated into the suite, the glass door sliding shut with a hiss. Rachel lay sprawled on the bed, her dark curls fanned across the pillow, oblivious to the storm brewing outside. Guilt gnawed at me. Should I wake her? Tell her? The thought of shattering her peace made my chest ache, but the image of Elise's hand on Daniel's arm burned hotter. I paced the room, the plush carpet muffling my steps, each one heavier with questions. Had Daniel lied about his work trip? Had Elise known I'd be here? Was this some cruel twist of fate, or had they planned it? The memory of last week flickered, Elise's distracted texts, her vague excuses about needing space. I'd chalked it up to stress, her new job, anything but this. Now those moments felt like splinters under my skin, sharp and undeniable. I sank onto the couch, my hands trembling as I pulled out my phone. Her last message, sent this morning, stared back at me. Having the best time. Wish you were here. The words twisted like a knife. I needed answers, but confrontation felt like stepping off a cliff. Instead, I slipped back to the balcony, staying low, hidden by the potted palms. Below, Elise and Daniel sat at the bar, their heads close, his hand resting on her knee. The bartender poured them cocktails, the clink of ice against glass faint but piercing. Elise laughed again, her voice carrying a lightness I hadn't heard in months. My throat tightened. Was I losing her? Had I already lost her? The day dragged on, each moment a slow bleed of dread. I avoided the pool, sticking to the shaded paths, the resort's vibrancy now a mockery of my unraveling world. Rachel noticed my silence at dinner, her brow furrowing as she cut into her fish. You okay, Mia? She asked, her voice soft but probing. I forced a smile, my fork hovering over untouched rice. Just tired. Jet lag, probably. The lie tasted bitter. How could I tell her that her husband was downstairs, flirting with my girlfriend? That we were both being played? That night, I couldn't sleep. The ceiling fan whirred above, its hum a constant reminder of the truth circling my mind. I replayed every moment with Elise, her late nights at work, the way she'd dodge questions about her weekends. I'd trusted her, rationalized every red flag. Now they glowed like neon signs. At 2 a.m., I crept out of the suite, driven by a need to know to see. The resort was quiet, the moon casting silver ripples across the pool. I found them on the beach, their silhouettes stark against the waves. Daniel's arm was around Elise, her head on his shoulder. My breath hitched, a sob threatening to escape. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but my feet stayed rooted, paralyzed by the intimacy of their pose. It wasn't just a fling. This was something deeper, something that had been growing behind my back. I don't know how long I stood there, the sand cool beneath my bare feet, the ocean's rhythm mocking my shattered heart. When I finally returned to the suite, Rachel was awake, sitting on the balcony with a glass of wine. Her eyes, red-rimmed, met mine. You saw them, didn't you? She whispered. The air left my lungs. You knew. She nodded, her lips trembling. I've suspected for months. The late nights, the excuses. I thought maybe I was wrong. But then I saw them today, by the pool. Her voice broke, and she looked away, toward the dark sea. I didn't want to believe it. We sat in silence, two women bound by betrayal, our pain a mirror reflecting the others. I wanted to hate Daniel, to hate Elise, but all I felt was a hollow ache. What do we do? I asked, my voice barely audible. Rachel's jaw tightened. We confront them. Tomorrow. The next morning, the resort buzzed with oblivious guests, their laughter grating against my raw nerves. Rachel and I found Elise and Daniel at the breakfast buffet. Their plates piled with fruit, their smiles infuriatingly carefree. I cleared my throat, my heart pounding. Elise. She turned, her eyes widening, then flickering with guilt. Mia? What are you doing here? Daniel's face paled as Rachel stepped forward, her voice steel. Funny, I was about to ask you the same thing, Daniel. The air thickened, guests glancing over curiously. Elise stammered. It's not what you think. Then what is it? I snapped, my voice louder than intended. Because it looks like you're here with my best friend's husband. Daniel opened his mouth, but no words came. Elise's eyes darted between us, her composure crumbling. Mia, I didn't mean for this to happen. It just did. Rachel's laugh was sharp, cutting. It just happened? For months? You're pathetic. The confrontation spiraled, words flying like shrapnel. Elise admitted to months of sneaking around. Daniel to his cowardice in not ending things with Rachel. Each confession was a blow, stripping away the trust I'd clung to. But it was Elise's final words that broke me. I love him, Mia. I'm sorry, but I do. The world tilted. I wanted to scream, to cry, but instead, I walked away, Rachel at my side. We didn't speak, didn't need to. The resort's beauty felt like a lie, its colors too bright, its sounds too loud. Back in our suite, Rachel poured us both wine, her hands shaking. To surviving, she said, raising her glass. I clinked mine against hers, but my mind was elsewhere, replaying Elise's words, her betrayal. Then Rachel's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, her face draining of color. It's from Daniel, she whispered, turning the screen toward me. A photo. Elise and Daniel, kissing on the beach, time-stamped an hour ago. After everything, they hadn't stopped. The image seared into me, a final twist of the knife. Rachel dropped the phone, her sob echoing my own silent scream. We were broken, but together, we'd find a way to mend. Or at least to endure.